Hello, I'm Teresa Bertram. The show's entitled Education in Arkansas. To open up our show, we're going to read out of 501 Life magazine. An Exchange. Brazilian Student Learns American Culture by Dwayne Habda. Except for a smooth South American accent, it would be hard to tell Joao Mendez apart from the thousands of high schoolers in Arkansas, and even then, not by much. That's how completely the 17-year-old exchange student fits into Conway. This was my fourth time here in America, he said. I kind of already knew how it would be, but my expectation for Arkansas, they were completely wrong because the reality was way better. This year has been the best year of my life. Joao, a native of Linz, Sao Paulo, Brazil, spent the year in the 501 as part of the Rotary Youth Exchange Program, through which more than 8,000 students experience a new culture annually. Joao, who was hosted by Conway Rotary District 6170, admits he didn't understand much about Arkansas itself, but the fact that it was in America was all he needed to know. My reaction was actually really happy, just knowing that I was coming to America. My dream was coming true, he said. I did hear about Arkansas before, but not a lot. I only knew the name. I knew it was a state in the United States. I didn't know exactly where it was or anything about it. Now I know. I got in Arkansas because I'm lucky. The trip wasn't Joao's first exposure to the States, nor was the exchange the first for his family. His father, Flavio, a doctor, spent an exchange year in Pennsylvania at Joao's age, as did his older brother Pedro in New York and his sister Flavia in Texas. He said despite this obvious family legacy, the decision to participate was left up to him. My dad was always talking about it with us, but he gave the choice completely to us, he said. He showed us, and he was like, if you want to do it, I'll be the happiest dad in the world to give you the opportunity. But if you don't want to, it's up to you. I was like, Dad, I 100% want to. I don't even know what you're talking about it. I was already there. Just seeing how at 38 years later, he's still talking to his host family and he still has contact, and how the exchange program changed his life. He actually figured out what he wanted to do for his life while he was here. So, all these wonderful things that the exchange program gave to him for his life, that was the main thing that made me want to do it. Coming to America was exciting, but Oweho said it took a little while to get integrated into life in Conway. Soccer, a sport he'd played since he was a tot, helped a great deal. He made the team as a defender and even started for much of the year. Soccer helped me a lot because my teammates, I see them every day. My best friends at school today are my teammates, he said. They showed me new people. Even in just normal classes, I see a person in one class in the whole day, and I feel best friends with them. They were really nice with me. They wanted to know where I'm from and how is Brazil and everything. I love Conway High. I usually say my favorite part from my exchange program is Conway High. Rotary offers opportunities to students for both short-term, 5 weeks, and long-term, 1-year exchanges with most expenses paid, but club officials report having difficulty getting local students to apply and take advantage of the opportunity. Oeho's advice to his Arkansas peers on the fence about such a trip is clear. I think they should take this adventure because you only live once, and I think it is something that will definitely change you for your whole life, he said. People who come to an exchange program, either in America or any other country, are for sure ahead of a lot of people when you talk about getting a job or getting a college or even in understanding the world in a different way. He hasn't quite figured out what he wants to study in college, but he's got it narrowed down to medicine like his dad and mother, Sylvia, or engineering like his siblings. Whatever he settles on, he said, his life and career will be better informed by his exchange student experience in Arkansas. The relationships that you can create with new people from a whole new culture and how to understand this new culture and a new way to live is something that will help me a lot in life, he said. Even if I go back to Brazil and have my life there, people are still different than me, and now I feel like I can understand more how different people have different ways to think about things. I think that's something that's really important. For more information about Rotary Youth Exchange, contact the Rotary Club of Conway at conwayrotaryclub.org. Next up, we're reading out of the Arkansas Times. Many Big Ideas for Education by Stacey James McAdoo. It's been almost a year since I was named the Teacher of the Year for the Little Rock School District and roughly 7 months since being named the Teacher of the Year for Arkansas. Soon I'll step out of the classroom for a year to assume that position. In theory, I've had close to 9,000 hours to think about my big idea to improve education in Arkansas and what I would like to shine a light on using an amplified teacher voice. Pick one issue, they've said. Think of, then share, one message. One thing you're passionate about and focus on that. But that's extremely difficult for someone who lives in her head and who knows intimately the dangers of and damage caused by singular stories. I grew up in a single-parent household. The neighborhood that I affectionately remember is now often described as south of 630 by outsiders, a phrase usually said with disdain. And although I am in no way ashamed of who I am or where I come from, when people who don't know me introduce me, those singular story buzzwords they use make me cringe. I get it. I am the typical feel-good story that people like to share. It usually goes a little something like this. Stacey James McAdoo, born to parents from the projects, whose father was a high school dropout, who was murdered by the time she started grade school, has been defying the odds for more than 4 decades. An average student in high school who paid for college out of pocket while working full-time, she now serves as an inspiration to many at-risk youth. She is currently an avid and communication instructor in an urban school district where she spends most of her days teaching students from low socioeconomic backgrounds. Insert gagging sound here. While I am the person described in the text above, I'm so much more. I care deeply about many things. Life experiences, losses, and first-hand exposure to blatant racism and social injustices have never afforded me the luxury to care about just one thing in the education world. I'm passionate about addressing inequalities in education, including but not limited to school funding, zoning, access to curriculum and resources, and the distribution of teacher course loads, duties, assignments, and salaries. I'm passionate about teacher recruitment and retention, especially as it relates to the need for more blacks and other educators of color in core subjects and advanced placement classes as well as leadership positions. I'm passionate about providing wraparound services for students and teachers, putting more counselors, not cops, in schools, and removing gatekeepers, policymakers, and lobbyists from education who, as Ice Cube said, either don't know, don't show, or don't care about what's going on in the hood. Revisiting high school graduation requirements, revamping course offerings, and re-examining our policies and procedures for implicit biases are also things continuously in the forefront of my mind. I even passionately care about being treated like the licensed professional that I am and protecting the sacredness of my limited time. I'm passionate about eliminating from the teacher profession punitive tasks and anything I'm required to do if no is the answer to my question of, if I don't do this, am I hurting my students? As a classroom teacher, I pride myself not on the statistical data and test scores of my students, but rather on the relationship built, the connections made, and the arts of reflective practice. Before I can take students up Bloom's ladder of learning goals or help them develop what teachers call a growth mindset that promotes positive thinking about what they can accomplish, their human needs must be addressed. Every single thing I do in the classroom is done with the goal of getting my students closer to their self-actualization and realizing the greatness that was already inside them long before they ever met me. I often use my passions in poetry as a connector to help remove barriers so that they can see themselves more clearly. So, if a singular story must be told or only one big idea or message shared, let it be that. But the truth is that something as complex as education requires many big ideas, first acknowledged and then executed well. Stacey James McAdoo, the 2019 Arkansas Teacher of the Year, affectionately referred to as 2019 a toy, is a 16-year oral communication instructor, avid coordinator, and sponsor of the spoken word collective Writers Poets from Arkansas. She teaches at Little Rock Central High School, where she is the living embodiment of her A Toy platform of using passion and poetry to close the opportunity gap. Her journey can be followed at stillstacy.com. Reading from Tech Action, Arkansas Tech University Alumni Magazine. ATU scholarships make study abroad trip possible. By Felicia Weaver. 8 Arkansas Tech University education students traveled to Graz, Austria during the summer for a month of immersive teaching. The trip was part of the Austrian government's STARS program, which allowed U.S. universities to work with their departments of education. On this trip, the city of Graz partnered with ATU to bring education majors into their schools for lessons in English. Graz is the capital city of the southern Austrian province of Styria and one of the best preserved historic cities in Europe. According to Shelley Hanna, interim department head and associate professor of curriculum and instruction at ATU, the purpose of this program is to share culture among all participants as well as allow Austrian students to learn and hear English spoken by native speakers. The ATU students went through an application process and spent the spring semester preparing appropriate lesson plans and learning about the people, food, climate, and schools of Austria. Elena Smith, a senior elementary education major from Heber Springs, was one of the scholarship recipients. She believes this study abroad opportunity will have a lasting impact on her life. I think that this experience will help me in my classroom more than anything, she said. I learned many new management skills and how to keep the classroom calm as much as a teacher can. I also think that it gave me the ability to help ESL students in my own classroom. Being abroad in a German-speaking culture made me very aware of how students who struggle with English feel in the classroom. Without this experience, I wouldn't ever have been able to truly understand that. For many students, scholarships make all the difference. Senior elementary education major Destiny Caracchio of Mountain Home said the ATU scholarship was a deciding factor for going on the Austria study abroad trip. This experience helped me grow as an educator and as a person, and that is exactly what I wanted from this trip, she said. Of the 8 students who traveled to Austria, 5 received scholarships for a total amount of $3,500. According to Gabriel Hallmark, instructor of English and German and the ATU Study Abroad coordinator, 48 students received study abroad scholarships during the 2018 and 19 academic year, totaling just under $30,000. These need-based scholarships are awarded to undergraduate students who participate in study abroad programs for academic credit. Students are awarded up to $1,000 each as funds are available. I want to say thank you so much for your donations, Caracchio said to the ATU donors. I am not sure that this trip would have been possible without you. I learned so much from this experience and I cannot thank you enough. Some of the funding for these scholarships came directly from the annual ATU Scholarship Dinner, which raised more than $100,000 in 2019 to support various student scholarship efforts. According to Hallmark, more than half of ATU students would like to study abroad, but less than 1% do so. She believes this is directly related to a lack of funding, and the study abroad scholarship can assist students in fulfilling their dreams. I hope that study abroad will open students' minds that there are many things out there beyond what you can see in Arkansas and the surrounding area, said Hallmark. It will change their lives, and not just right after the trip, but for the rest of their lives. I've had students who have gone on a study abroad trip with us. Then they have studied abroad for a semester, which they never would have considered before. Now they are working toward a master's degree at a university abroad. It changed their lives. Moving on, we're reading out of Wink magazine. The Millennial Challenge and Impact of Student Debt on Home Ownership by Morgan Tidwell. The traditional first steps for young adults after graduating college is to find a job and form their own household well before purchasing a home. However, in a recent 2016 study conducted by the National Association of Realtors and American Student Assistants, 42% of student loan borrowers reported delaying moving out of a family member's home after college, with 24% delaying for at least 2 years. However, since many young adults use this living situation as a way to pay down debt and save, future increases in student debt loads would likely extend the amount of time individuals live at home, thereby postponing the formation of households. In fact, approximately half of all borrowers in the NAR survey believed that student loan debt inhibited their ability to rent a loan. The strain of student debt impacts the perceptions and beliefs of households regarding their ability to purchase a home. Approximately 71% of non-homeowners in a 2016 study believed that their student loan debt delayed them from buying a home. Non-homeowners with more than $50,000 in student debt were the most likely to feel that their debt delayed them from buying a home, with approximately 8 out of 10 feeling this way. The millennial generation is also more likely to suffer from this problem, whereas the Generation X and baby boomer respondents felt their inability to own a home because of student debt was attributed to high debt-to-income ratios. In many ways, educational attainment is becoming an increasingly important step toward achieving the American dream of owning a home. Education generally increases both job opportunities and income. In fact, the average earner's premium of a college degree, the percentage of which wages of college graduates exceed those of otherwise comparable high school graduates, rose substantially by approximately 25% points for both women and men of 50.8%, reflecting both rising opportunities for those with degrees and a decline in real average earnings for those without a degree. In general, increased earnings potential from additional education makes saving for down payments, qualifying for a mortgage, and affording monthly mortgage payments easier, particularly in an environment of rising home prices and still tight credit standards. In fact, compared with not having a high school diploma, a bachelor's degree increased homeownership by 17.5% points for young adults. Although education generally increases future earnings and in turn boosts the future likelihood of buying a home, student loan debt is having young adults opting to live with their parents or remain in shared living situations because of the financial burdens caused by student debts, thereby postponing the formation of additional households. For all of the potential home buyers, before you give up on your home buying plans, talk to your realtor and lender, as there are a number of 100% loans available for individuals based on a number of factors including area and income. Additionally, it may be possible for the seller to pay some of your closing costs on your behalf. The ERA Team Real Estate is one of Faulkner County's leading, knowledgeable, and top producers. We are full-time agents with the knowledge, dedication, customer focus, and commitment to all aspects of your real estate needs. Call us today with your real estate questions at 501-327-6731. Data sources include National Realtors Association and American Student Assistants. To finish out the Education in Arkansas show for today, we're going to read out of About the River Valley. 3 Scholars, 3 Scribes. Story by Kathy Graves. The River Valley is home to many talented and dedicated teachers. 3 of those teachers have reached beyond the classroom, using their experience as instructors and in life to create distinct voices as authors. Bridget Smith has included unique learning techniques in 2 easy-read children's books. Will McCrawdy has included his self-help methods in 2 juvenile books about baseball. And Eli Craner's emotional observations of sports and life are relayed to adults in his new novel, numerous short stories and personal essays, plus an advice column. Bridget Smith. A multicolored 6-foot-long stuffed caterpillar accompanied the sale and book signings for Bridget Smith's first easy-read children's book, Chloe's Destiny. The story is told by a caterpillar who wants to fly but doesn't know she has to go through metamorphosis to achieve her goal. Bridget's colorful illustrations, her song Metamorphosis, and a glossary of terms are all included to fully engage a child in learning. An author once told her that if she was going to sell a cookbook, she should include a pan with a cell. Bridget used this strategy with her book, and it worked. Her book received worldwide distribution. People loved it, Bridget says. Bridget's author presentation to elementary schools includes a self-made video of her writing, making mistakes, marking through, and correcting them in Chloe's Destiny. I want to show them the writing process, Bridget says, and how adults make mistakes too. Her new book, If I Could Count to 10, features a young girl who is insecure and shy. She doubts her ability to learn to count to 10. Bridget uses the technique of practice to overcome both shyness and the ability to count using her classroom experience and many talents to build a child's self-esteem. The book features her original illustrations, fun facts about the animals in the book, comprehensive questions, and her song, If I Could Count to 10. The book will fully engage a child in learning to identify numbers and number words, Bridget says. During book signings, Bridget offers an oversized lollipop like the one covering the shy girl's face in her book. Each of Bridget's books contains a variety of reading strategies through word, illustrations, and music. I've been singing and making up stories since I was 2 years old, Bridget says. She developed her drawing talent in high school classes. Now Bridget is often commissioned for paintings and Bible journaling with illustrations. A teacher at Sequoia Elementary in the alternative classroom for 16 years, Bridget's classes are filled with students ages 5 to 8 that need extra help in confidence, obedience, and self-esteem. Bridget has received an award of excellence from the Arkansas Department of Education for her successful approach to education. Her clear voice is shown not only in her teaching but also in illustrating, songwriting, and in her writing. Bridget said that after college and with each major life decision, she has sought the Lord's guidance in what I was supposed to be doing with my life. The Lord put a desire in my heart to teach, write, illustrate, and publish children's books. Publishing a book takes time and much patience, but the Lord is continually giving me divine connections. God is the reason for it all. Bridget will continue to write and says that she is currently working on ebooks for the first 2 books and a new one entitled, What About Me? Recorded songs will be included in all 3. To learn more about Bridget's books, paintings, and guidelines on how to help a child grow in knowledge, self-esteem, and define purpose, visit her website, bridgetbuildscharacter.com. Will McCrotty. Like Bridget, Will McCrotty used what he knew to pursue writing. His background of playing baseball and years of coaching are reflected in Will's books, Change of Thought and So What? Will has been a 6th grade teacher in Russellville Middle School and the head baseball coach for Russellville High School for the last 5 years. In his role at RMS, he's taught life skills which include creative thinking skills, debating, balancing a checkbook, and how to create a business. Prior to becoming an educator, Will played professional baseball for 8 years with the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Cleveland Indians, and in their minor league systems. Will's first book, A Change in Thought, is a young adult nonfiction story in which words of wisdom from his mentors, Brad Ware, Tommy Lasorda, Dale Crandall, Denny McCrotty, and others who impacted his baseball experiences shine through lessons called The Fellowship of the Miserable and Turn It Over to God. His hopes are that the book will help others through adversity with his 3 things to remember. Live for God, live passionately for your purpose, and live compassionately for others. Will's new juvenile book, So What, was inspired by his baseball background, his dad's words that there's always someone that wants it, anything as much or more than you, and an exciting backyard incidents. My father was my greatest mentor, Will says. He started the Russellville High School baseball program. That stuck in the back of my mind my entire life. When I wanted to slack off, his words came back to me. The backyard incident happened one night. My dogs were outside making weird noises. It sounded like they were after some type of animal, Will says. When I went out to check, they had circled a gray cat with white paws. The cat looked like it was wearing white boots. The cat was fierce and lashed out at the dogs one by one. Will caged the cat and released it in a safe place. The cat turned around and meowed at me before walking away, Will says. The image of the white-pawed cat surrounded by 3 dogs sparked the whole story in Will's mind. In the book, the scrappy cat who never gave up in the face of great opposition was named Boots and placed in a noisy barking dog environment. Boots, a confident but anxiety-filled baseball player, faces a championship game against the Dogville Barkers. The book was written for a young reader facing pressure and anxiety. He hopes that the book will serve as a guideline to overcome fear. His fellow teacher and author, Bridget Smith, illustrated this book, and she partnered with Will on book signings at Russellville's Art Walk and Mistletoe Markets. You may contact Will through his email, will.mccrotty@russellvilleschools.net. Eli Craner. Eli Craner also played professional sports prior to becoming a teacher. He played in Sweden as the Karlstad Crusaders quarterback and led them to the Swedish National Championship in 2011. At the Gardner campus in the Secondary Learning Center, Eli teaches English to 9th to 12th graders. He also taught a class in journalism, and some of his students participated in the federal program Jobs for American Graduates, JAG, which is a career-oriented program for at-risk children. He coached high school football at Arkadelphia, Clarksville, and Morrilton, but stopped when his daughter was born. There wasn't enough time for both, Eli says. Eli's 20 years on the football field, from pee-wee to professional, shaped his whole life. It taught me that I needed discipline, Eli says. This code of conduct, practice, rules, and punishment is reflected in many of Eli's writing projects, in which he uses football analogies to reflect on life. Eli says that his writing began when Johnny Wink, a college professor and mentor, encouraged me to write. That's where it all started. Before his first publication in 2018, Eli made a bold move. He wrote a letter and sent a short story to Charles Portis, author of True Grit. According to Eli, he was the biggest Arkansas author I knew of. Eli received suggestions from the author and continues to trade correspondence with Portis's brother. Eli's short story, Don't Know Tough, was published in the Greensboro Review, for which he won the Robert Watson Literary Prize. It was honored for the 2018 Miller Audio Prize by the Missouri Review. This short story is also the basis for Eli's novel, Don't Know Tough, which is with an agent and making the rounds with publishers in New York. When published, it will be Eli's first book in print. It won't be Eli's first novel, however. He's written 8 that range in subject matter from football to zombies. There are a couple of science fiction novels and a young adult novel in the mix. The Courier published Eli's weekly series called From the Pocket in 2018 and 19. Eli called it a smorgasbord of topics covering politics, football, and nostalgia. His newest series, Athletic Support, is an advice column for parents of athletes. It's like Dear Abby, Eli says. I receive questions from parents of all ages. By and By is a series Eli is contracted to write in 2019 for the Oxford American. Under the heading, hash mark, he writes with a football theme. Eli explains that a hash mark is a little white line which marks 1 yard of the 100 on the field. No one notices them. Contained in each story are little memories like the hash marks on a playing field, the lessons the game taught me, the metaphorical hash marks, the small lines forever etched into the fields of my past. Remain. To contact and learn more about Eli's work, visit his website, elicraner.com.